Hello everyone, my name is Maudlin. I am a mad scientist of fashion. I do like to take fashion aesthetics, fashion eras, all sorts of different vibes of fashion and just mush them together into something completely new. What I have on right now, as you can see, is Bimbos. It's when I combine bimbocore and weirdcore. So basically just like a weirdcore maximalist girl who loves to party. That's kind of the vibe, that's what I'm into. And I'm of the opinion that when a new aesthetic or subculture or whatever has been created, even if it's just me participating right now, it's important to make note of cultural touchstones that your aesthetic might have. Goth is a music-based subculture, you know? There is goth music, there's goth movies, there's goth books, there's goth poetry. Why can't my rinky-dink little aesthetic have a letterboxed watch list? Well, guess what? It does! I'm about to give you some of the most fantastic movies that I've ever seen that I think perfectly encapsulate this aesthetic. These are movies that are weird. They're a little slutty, they're a little party, fantastic, fabulous. Sometimes they're Y2K influenced, sometimes they're just something completely different. So this is just like a ragtag wacky list of movies that I think are perfect for bimbos who are really fucking weird. So without further ado, let's jump right in. I'm not going to go too much into detail on the plot of each movie, it's just sort of going to be kind of like based on vibes alone. So let's go. I would say first, starting off really strong, is Barbarella with Jane Fonda. She's just this wild, wacky, sci-fi goddess running around and having all sorts of misadventures, sexual and otherwise. It's perfect for this aesthetic. It just is. I would say the two most Bimbazar Russ Meyer films are Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill. Just in terms of, you know, wacky dames in the desert having fun and kicking men in the ribs, all that kind of thing. But an even more Bimbazar choice of Russ Meyer's is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is one of my favorites. What is there to say about Beyond the Valley of the Dolls? But it is a Technicolor fever dream. It's sort of serious, sort of campy, sort of tragic, sort of comical. There's just wild parties, wacky late 60s, early 70s kind of costumes, deviant sexuality, beautiful women, beautiful men, beautiful creatures in between, gorgeous, slutty visuals. Love, love, love Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, I would say, is quintessential for this aesthetic. Next up, I'm gonna say Viva. Now, this is Anna Biller's first feature film. It's got the kind of Anna Biller theme of a modern look at the past, as well as that kind of like vintage throwback vibe. There is a lot of questions about womanhood and femininity, and you're not quite sure how ironic it is and how ironic it isn't, but I do put it on this list because I think it is a visually stunning movie, a very interesting feminist snapshot perspective. Next, I will say pretty much every John Waters movie fits on this list, maybe except Hairspray, because Hairspray is PG. If it's a not rated John Waters movie, it is perfect for this aesthetic. Need I say more? Next, I will say Party Monster with Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green kind of goes into this. I think Club Kids are a really big source of inspiration for me when I'm putting together looks for this aesthetic. So the fashion alone is a really fantastic source of inspiration, I would say, just as well as the kind of tawdry, bizarre story that goes along with Party Monster. It's semi-based on a true story. I watched it with someone who actually knew Michael Alec and said that there was some veracity to the way Macaulay Culkin was speaking and that sort of rang true, which I thought was interesting. So I love Party Monster. It's really interesting and fun, and gruesome because there's an element of truth behind the story being told. It's got a gorgeous young Chloe Sevigny. What could go wrong? The next movie I have on this list, I don't love, but it is related to the Chloe Sevigny connection. Again, can we just pause for a second? Am I pronouncing her name right? I say it like it's French. I really don't know. If it's Savigny, I'm gonna kill myself. The next film I have on this list, I personally don't love, but again, the Chloe Sevigny connection makes me think that it is right for this list, and that is Harmony Korine's Gummo. Now I could also maybe secondarily recommend Spring Breakers, but I haven't seen the entirety of it. It didn't quite land in my eyes the way I was hoping it would, and I just got kind of bored and left the movie. Not in a theater, but anyway, back to Gummo. There is kind of this gruesome, grim, weird sexuality thing going on in Gummo. Sort of the postmodern, wacky, detached, ironic thing going on. Again, like I said, this movie didn't resonate with me in a big way. I kind of had some issues with it. I have issues with Harmony Korine's work in general. But I did think Gummo has kind of an interesting visual story that could help with aesthetic inspiration. So, whatever. Next, this is niche. Welcome to the niche corner, because this one I'm about to say you haven't even heard of. I mean, I could shake some film bro down the street and say, have you heard of this? And he'd say, no, what are you talking about? This is a movie I saw when I was in college. I took a Russian cinema course, and in that class I saw a Russian anthology movie called Korotkye Zamykanie. Basically translates to Short Circuit, but the English title of the film is Crush. And these are 5 short stories about love and romance. One of the films is a film by Kirill Serebrennikov, and his short film is called Potsylui Krevetki, A Prawn's Kiss. Now this whole movie is this adorable Russian man dressed in a prawn costume. So he basically looks like a giant shrimp, and he's walking around and having all of these like really violent, weird confrontations with people. And then all of a sudden he meets this beautiful babe who's riding around on a trash barge. And I think at one point she gets naked, and they are riding this trash barge down the river together. It's kind of like a Russian John Waters short film to me, just because of the absurdity of a guy getting the shit kicked out of him in a prawn costume, and then he meets this beautiful, gorgeous, naked lady running around, and they're on a garbage barge. If you don't know what I mean by garbage barge, it's like a boat that's a garbage truck. Point is, the movie is so fun and so bizarre. Because Google is absolute garbage, it's really hard to find good source material about this movie or where to find it, or I think everyone should see it. I really wish it was on YouTube. Maybe it's on YouTube. Alright. It is on YouTube, everybody. I repeat, it is on YouTube. Alright, so I will link that in the description below. That was some deep diving I just did there, but it is in Cyrillic. So if you were to type A Prawn's Kiss into YouTube, you'd get some perverted weird thing of a guy kissing random people on the beach. So I'm linking the film in the description. Beautiful. Love, 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 love. Next film I'm gonna say is Raw. Again, deviant sexuality, kind of a cute girl. She's biting people, she's loving it. Love, love, love. Next I'm gonna say Blow Up. This is like a mess of a movie, but like those mod girls and how like wacky and weird and fucked up the little photographer guy is. It's like a good weirdcore bimbo kind of watch. Next up, I'm gonna say Tank Girl, for obvious reasons. A lot of really cool fashion inspiration in this film. Lori Petty's a treasure. Lori Petty's Tank Girl kind of breathes life into being a hot girl who's just weird and gross. Next, I'm gonna say Down with Love. Now, Down with Love is a pretty obvious homage to Pillow Talk, which came out in 1959. That was a Rock Hudson Doris Day flick. Basically, Doris Day gets bamboozled into falling in love with Rock Hudson because she hates him but has never seen him because she's only heard his voice on the phone, so he has to kind of come up with this ruse to make her fall in love. And Down with Love kind of flips all of that on its head. I don't want to spoil how and why, but I would say Down with Love in terms of like a visual treat and of just being a hot girl bamboozling men. I love, love, love Down with Love. It has Renee Zellweger, it has Ewan McGregor, it has David Hyde Pierce, it has Sarah Paulson. I mean, come on. I will say Paris is Burning is on this list, and now that is a documentary, not fictional, very, very real. Lots of fashion inspiration, lots of just vibe inspiration, lots of just beautiful, beautiful women just like living their lives and being beautiful, and being a little weird with it because they're kind of in the ballroom drag scene in New York City in the 80s. So there's just a lot of camp, a lot of high fashion, just a lot of inspiration to be had from Paris is Burning. Love that movie. Last on the list is Sweet Movie. Sweet Movie is disgusting. It's gross. A lot of disgusting, gross, horrible things happen. But a lot of kind of interesting, cute, sexy things happen. But a lot of really gross, disgusting things happen. So because of the juxtaposition of beauty and the grotesque, I put this movie on this list because it is insane. I adore John Waters. I adore John Waters movies. I adore their commitment to grotesquerie. So I will draw a comparison between Sweet Movie and maybe like Multiple Maniacs and Pink Flamingos in terms of like visually interesting and disgusting things happen. But I will say Sweet Movie is way, way more extreme with gore, shit, pee, blood, sugar, chocolate in places that it doesn't belong. So, am I saying that John Waters is tame compared to Sweet Movie? No. I'm saying Pink Flamingos is an American movie, and I'm saying Sweet Movie is a movie from Yugoslavia. Just kind of like different cultural touchstones for what's gross and what's not. But Sweet Movie is visually delightful when it is, and visually disgusting and horrifying when it is as well. So, with that being said, watch with caution. I would look for one of those little, like, trigger warning websites for this particular movie because it is not for the faint of heart. But it is a damn good time if you're into a challenging film experience. And there's a lot of hot babes in it. A lot of hot babes. Can't leave that out because that's an important component of this film list. I am going to make a more comprehensive Bimbazar film list on Letterboxd. I will link my Letterboxd below. I have a ton of things that I think sort of fit with this aesthetic on my watch list. I'm always looking to hear new film recommendations. If there's a sort of like sexy, slutty, bizarre, gross, weird movie that kind of reminds you of this aesthetic, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm always curious to hear from you, and until next time, bye!